Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for another video. So this video is actually inspired by one of you guys. I wish I had the name of the person who gave me this idea. I was just on a live stream. He said, "Hey Legs, you should make this video." I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. And I wrote it down on my whiteboard back here, where I try to write down ideas and stuff. But I never put the guy's name, and I don't remember. So I apologize. Hopefully, the real person who gave me the idea, comments down below. But now I feel like everyone's going to comment, "Oh, it was my idea," so I don't know. But anyways, the idea is one champ in each class that I would buff and why. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll just go in order, starting with the science class. So let's put this to 5-star because every champ exists as a 5-star. Quake here included. So one champ in the science class to buff and why, and I'll also give like kind of maybe like what I would throw in if I was buffing them, if I have something. So science class, and I haven't really given this video any prior thought. Like I'm just jumping in and thinking things through. So science, I think I got it. I think I got it. Yeah, for sure. Well, so like one of the ideas I had before, was for Invisible Woman, just kind of like this isn't my choice, but like when we had the whole little arcade thing, Invisible Woman was so cracked in that. Like if she could have 1% of the power she had in that game in MCOC, she'd be good. So like I really just want them to draw some inspiration from the arcade mode Invisible Woman and kind of throw that into her actual kit. But my actual choice here, it's kind of a two-parter, kind of like a three-parter, but it's just Captain America. So either one, I don't really care, but I like this Captain America way more because when I first started playing the game, before 12.0, which 12.0 was when Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Black Widow, Thor, everyone got nerfed into the ground, and just the entire way the game works was changed to diminishing returns. Before, every value in the game was percentage based. But now, then they changed it. So, like, it's value based. There's show percentages, but then there's this thing called diminishing returns. So, like, like your crit rate, can get up to 90%, but you're not going to be critting 90% of the time because of diminishing returns, essentially. But before all that was changed, Captain America was a beast, bro. This dude right here, World War II. He was an animal. I used to bring him to Alliance War all the time. He was so good that you just block everything, bait heavies, throw your special 2, and bleed them. Like he was the simplest champ. It was great. But what I'd want to see from a buffed Captain America, what I've always really wanted to see, and it can be either one. There's two useless Captain Americas here that we can pull from. So one of them should get this kind of treatment. And what the treatment I'm talking about, and I feel like it honestly makes a little bit more sense for this Captain America to get the treatment, but essentially all I want to see is Captain America get Mjolnir and become worthy Captain America from Avengers Endgame. And then like if he could even like somehow maybe change his class, like if he could switch between science and cosmic with like a pre-fight or something, there's so much potential, man. But that's by far like my most wanted buff, and just like I've always wanted Kabam to add Stormbreaker Thor, and I've always said like, all right, if they add Stormbreaker Thor, give him a synergy with this Captain America that like can turn him into like a pre-fight that like makes him worthy or something. Like that's so convoluted. Why don't they just buff Captain America? One of them, either one of them. I feel like the classic one makes a little bit more sense to become worthy Cap, but either one, dude, and give us worthy Captain America with like the broken shield and Mjolnir, and just let him go crazy, let him go wild, man. That's what I want to see. That's probably I was gonna say number one, but no, there's another champ that I want buff more, but that's probably my number 2 most wanted buff addition to the game. So that's the science pick for sure. Captain America, worthy Captain America. It'd be a crazy buff. Let's move on to the skill class. All right, skill. What do we have here? So, Thor was already buffed. I was so disappointed when we got this Thor, dude, because like I'm just gonna rant for a second here, because like looking at this Thor, it just feels like it was a total marketing scheme with the Thor Ragnarok movie. That's Thor over the course of the movie has all looks like this for like 10 minutes. That's it. For the rest of the movie, he doesn't have this shield. He doesn't have this weapon. He doesn't have that helmet. He doesn't look like this. But from 10 minutes of an MCU movie, we are stuck forever in MCOC with this version of Thor. And I hate it. Genuinely. Like, it's a cool 10-minute thing in the movie, but I don't want that to be forever in game, Like, it sucks. It sucks. Because Thor Ragnarok, that's the best Thor movie of all time, in my opinion. And, like, Thor at the end of the movie is so cool. And, awakened his powers and everything. And he's missing an eye. Like, I would love to see that Thor. Like, Thor at the end of Ragnarok be added, not this Thor. And, like, he's a skill champion. What? Why? Why is he skill? So, like, I just wish they kind of redid Thor Ragnarok. Get rid of this stupid look. Drop the shield. Drop that weapon. I don't know, man. Turn this Thor into Stormbreaker Thor. That'd be cool. Or just make a new Thor. I don't know. Rant over. But, yeah. That Thor's already been buffed, and he is better now. He's got, like, some stun-locking shenanigans that he can do, but it's pretty irrelevant overall in-game, I would say. Oh, okay. I think I figured out who I'm picking. So, part of me wants to say Agent Venom. But, Agent Venom is already insanely good with his whole synergy team. With, like, Scorpion and Kraven. He already cooks. So, if they can just kind of copy and paste some of those synergies into his base kit. Maybe give him some other little sprinkled stuff on top. Obviously, like, toning down the damage from those synergies. Because it's crazy. But, like, part of that damage from the synergies into the base kit. With, like, some sprinkled on utility or something. I feel like Agent Venom would immediately become top of the skill class. Also, Agent Venom just looks so good. Like, oh my god, look how good he looks, man. Compared to Thor Ragnarok. Oh god, okay. But no, that's not my pick. My pick is OG classic Daredevil, dude. This is another champion that, like, back in long time ago, we're talking 2016 era MCOC, back in those days when I loved Captain America World War II, I also loved Daredevil, because Daredevil was actually, like, pretty similar to Captain America World War II in the blocking. So, Captain America World War II, he had the shield and just ridiculous block proficiency, but Daredevil here, he has just a base 40% perfect block chance. That's insane. That's crazy, dude. That 40% chance to perfect block? That is, like, unheard of. Like, look at the amount of ability. He doesn't even have a description for his special 3, but he has 40% perfect block. Like, that's pretty insane. Well, it's also insane how short this abilities page is. But yeah, man, like, I love the look of Daredevil Classic. And, like, I feel like a buff with him could just make him, like, you could give him, like, a whole new type of evade. Give him, like, the dodge, like what Dazzler has. Give him the dodge, and, like, make his SIG ability, just make it so that he auto-dodges all special attacks or something like that. Like, that could be Daredevil. Like, you cannot touch him with special attacks. Like Max SIG or something as an attacker. Like, that'd be pretty cool. Because, his radar sense, it allows him to evade projectile-based specials. Wait, this radar sense. That's just saying evade, not even special attacks. But anyways, with a buff, like, that's kind of what I'd like to see. Just make him so that he's just the god of avoiding specials on his own, and give him. And the reason why I said, like, Dazzler's dodge is because like that nothing counters that. Nothing counters Dazzler's dodge, for example. You know, like Photons and Serpent, they can't turn that off. That's not something that can be turned off by masteries. So that's the type of ability I'd want to see Daredevil have. Obviously, stick with the perfect block. That's cool. As far as what else I'd give him, I don't know. Definitely counter it. He already counters miss pretty well. So maybe stick with that. Maybe get him to counter evade and auto block too. I don't know. But yeah, man, I love classic Daredevil. I think he just looks so good. Like in game, I think this Daredevil looks way better than this Daredevil. But you know, like when I was watching the Netflix series, I did really like this suit. I just don't think it translates nearly as well in game, opposed to the comic book classic look here. You know, I mean, technically the classic look is like yellow. That would be pretty crazy. But yeah, I love this suit, man. It looks great. So yeah, so far our picks are Captain America and Daredevil, 2 champs from my OG days. All right, let's move on to the Mutant Class. Okay, mutants. So X-23 is on the way to get a buff. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. I think I know. Oh, dude, there's so many good options in the Mutant Class. Like Cable could get a crazy buff. You know, if they totally give him the Apocalypse energy, I think, where, you know, I don't think he has a limit on the amount of degens that his heavy can apply. If he had that, and just like they modernized his kit a little bit, I think Cable could be so relevant, dude. Cable has a lot of good building blocks in his kit. He has no damage. So without that synergy, first of all, like, he's a potato. So that synergy would need to be put in the base kit. But I think you still need a little bit other things, but Cable's not my choice. Beast would be a good one, but yeah, he's not my choice either. Apocalypse, dude. Like, Apocalypse is pretty good, but I don't think he's nearly as good as he needs to be. You know, like, after watching the 90s X-Men and X-Men 97, it, like, really showed me, like, holy crap. Apocalypse is so broken. Like, he should be better in game. You know, the biggest thing with Apocalypse is take away his current signature ability, just scrap it and give him a new one. Like, that's all I wanted them to do when they released him as a 7-star, and of course they didn't touch it. I just absolutely despise this signature ability. I believe it's one of the worst in the game. Apocalypse is deserving of so much more. Like, he's freaking Apocalypse. Like, he's the type of champ that should have Hercules' signature ability, you know, giving him immortality, or like Serpent's signature ability, giving him death immunity. Like, that's the kind of stuff Apocalypse should have. But that's also not my pick. I think my pick really falls between 2 champions. I might have a 2-champion answer here. And it makes sense because they just had a movie together, and that's Deadpool and Wolverine. And, you know, Kabam did show them, they did get some tweaks, but it was just visually. So they both look visually different in-game now. Their character models and their champion portraits are a bit different. Yeah, I picked both because they're very similar. Deadpool and Wolverine in game. They're OG regular versions. You know, neither of them do that much. They both regen a lot, and they both bleed. You know, Wolverine on the basic attacks, Deadpool with some of his special attacks. But that's really all they do. You know, all they really do is regen and have a little bit of bleed. Wolverine obviously having more damage, and Deadpool having more healing. Like, these are just 2 of the most iconic mutants in all of Marvel. You know, they need to be done justice in game with their classic versions. You know, like we have Weapon X, who's, you know, a decent version of Wolverine. You know, he's not a bad champ. He's somewhat decent, useful. And now we finally have a decent, I wouldn't even use the word decent. I would say a good Deadpool, even I'd maybe even use the word great. A great Deadpool and Deadpool X-Force. But we need the classic versions to get the love, dude. The classic versions is the version of these characters that most of us fell in love with. They need to be good. I was really hoping that when they updated the character model, that was like a telltale sign that, oh, okay, a buff's coming. But no, there's nothing in sight, nothing leaked, nothing. So yeah, it's a 2-champ answer. Wolverine and Deadpool. I did not mean to click out of that. Those are my picks for the buff. I'd be really happy with either one. Wolverine is actually insanely good as a horseman. If they just threw the horseman stuff into his kit, like, send it. He's good. He's good to go. I mean, I would like a little bit more utility, maybe, perhaps, but I would take what I can get. If they would just give him his Apocalypse stuff and base kit, boom, he's good. And as far as Deadpool goes, I don't know, dude, but like they could really make Deadpool OP. Give him like his teleporting belt, give him like some other gadgets and gizmos that he has in the comics, and just give him like broken abilities, like the Chablis de Bouffe stuff. Give him more crazy stuff like that. I'd love it, bro. I'd love it, and no champ in the game deserves it more than Deadpool. Deadpool is like such an OG character in this game too, and Kabam used him for all kinds of stuff. Like even on their live streams, they have like Deadpool behind the camera saying "Be nice," like he's like one of the poster childs of the game, and yet he sucks. That shouldn't be allowed. Wouldn't be allowed if I was running the game. But all right, so far we have Captain America, Daredevil, and Deadpool and Wolverine. All right, let's move on to Cosmic. Cosmic is the easy one. This is the one I already know my answer to. I'm sure a lot of you guys even know my answer. But we'll talk about like some other good options before we get to the best option, undisputedly best option in the game for Cosmic. So I would say some good options. Venom the Duck is in dire need of a buff. Kabam, I swear, Kabam said that there was going to be no bad 7-stars. They said that, and then in the 7-star launch pool, Venom the Duck was there, and we're like, yeah, he is kind of bad, and I swear Kabam like committed to, yeah, we're gonna buff him though. I feel like it was Sauron 2, because I remember it being 2 champs. Yeah, Sauron was in the starting 7 pool. I swear Kabam said they were gonna buff Sauron and Venom pool, and then they never did. It never happened. Yeah. So I was gonna say the champion, but we all know the champion is the champion. He doesn't need a buff. Oh, Black Bolt, dude. Oh, part of me even wants to say Black Bolt now. Black Bolt's a great option. I remember starting playing the game and I was using Black Bolt and I used his special 3, and like I had seen Black Bolt like from some TV shows, so I understood how his power worked. And to see him just screaming, full on screaming in his special 3, like my mind was blown. I was like, oh my god, this special 3 must like instant KO every single opponent, because no one can withstand Black Bolt screaming at you. Good luck, GG, the fight's over, right? No, his special 3 does nothing. It can apply a stun and it deals some true damage. Cool, that does nothing. So, yeah, Black Bolt would be such a phenomenal candidate for a buff. And what I'd want to see on a Black Bolt buff is just make his special 3 worthwhile of the Inhuman King screaming. Make it worthwhile. And make it one of those one and done. You can only use this once per fight, maybe even once per quest. But make it just so devastating. That's what I'd want to see on Black Bolt, dude. Without a shadow of a doubt. Groot is a great answer. If you said Groot, I understand. I do want Groot to get buffed, but there's just a champ I want buffed more. Drax, another good option. Mr. Invisible. Carnage is another one that did get buffed, but Carnage is actually like my favorite villain in Marvel, and I always wanted him added in game. And when he first got added, like I was just so disappointed with the champion. And then he got buffed, and I was still pretty disappointed with the champion. And yeah, it just kind of sucks when like one of your all-time favorites is added to the game you play, and you don't like the way they turned out. Like my biggest things with Carnage was I wanted to see some really big bleeds and some really crazy regen with him, and like debuff shrugging before he was like ever added to the game. Those were like the 3 big things I wanted to see on him. He has nothing to do with debuff shrugging, like Agent Venom. That's where that idea came from. He has absolutely nothing to do with regen. And yeah, he has bleeds, but like Carnage is supposed to be the uh, offspring of the Venom symbiote, and it's supposed to be like way stronger. So like, make him stupidly strong, man. Come on. But I'm sure you guys have also been noticing a bit of a theme here, and that is symbiotes. And yeah, the number one buff in the game that I want, that I need, is symbiote Spider-Man. This is my favorite version of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my all-time favorite hero, favorite character in Marvel. And like the symbiote arcs were always my favorite, dude. I love them so much. I love when Peter Parker finds a symbiote and we see like an aggressive side of him that we've never seen before, and he becomes like such a more relatable character to me. Like I loved it. And I always wanted him to keep the symbiote. He would eventually always shed the symbiote. Then Eddie would find it, become Venom, and then we'd get Carnage, and then Peter would have to fight both of them, and then maybe become friends with Venom to team up to fight Carnage. Like I love that. I love those arcs. I love those characters so much. So like I just have really, really, really high hopes for those characters when it comes to them in game. And out of those three, Venom is the only one that's somewhat meta relevant, and even Venom, he's good, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't love the Venom we have in game. I like him. I don't love him. I want to love him. Have so much love that I want to give these champs, but they're just. So Symbiote Spider-Man, and I've told Kabam specifically. Like I think I told Kabam Crash. I'm like, yo, if you guys are ever buffing Symbiote Spider-Man, please let me know and let me assist. I'll work for free. Like, let me help. Yeah. As far as what I would do if I did get the chance to work on Symbiote Spider-Man, what I'd give him, I don't know. I would want to, if I had like true freedom to work on his kit, I think I would create some new stuff for sure. I would create like a new version of like armor break, armor shatter, a whole new debuff, like armor obliteration or something. Because like Spider-Man, he is so strong and he's always constantly holding back. Like if Spider-Man stops holding back, like he could just knock out the Rhino with a punch. Like Spider-Man's strength is ridiculous. And then if you add the symbiote on top of that, like yeah, it's unreal. So like the trope of this Spider-Man right now is he uses heavies and he armor breaks the opponent. So I'd kind of want to stick with that as his damage, but again make it something new, like armor pulverize or armor obliteration. I think I said or something. So like their armor is just completely obliterated, and you just hit so hard. It makes your damage go crazy. So I'd give him something really cool like that, and give that some nice utility that just kind of like really shuts down a lot of tech champions. Something like that would be pretty cool. Definitely give him some regen. Every good champ has regen, Definitely give him some regen. How I'd give him the regen, I don't know. Definitely give him some battleground starting abilities for sure, without a doubt. So that in battlegrounds, it's easy to ramp. He starts ramps, and I'd give him like some battlegrounds defensive abilities too. That'd be cool. He starts the fight and he's just gonna evade. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't know. I have so many ideas. I would give it so much thought, man. I would absolutely love to work on buffing this champion. So that's my number one pick overall of the video, but easily number one pick in the Cosmic class. So to recap, we have Captain America in Science, Daredevil in Skill, Deadpool and Wolverine Classic in Mutant, and Symbiote Spider-Man in Cosmic. All right, let's move on. Speaking of tech, let's move on to tech now. Okay, who would I pick here? Oh, do I know already? Oh, it's a tough choice. It's between two champions. Oh, there's actually... Yeah, no, never mind. No, never mind. Yeah. There's two champs. So, let's start with the honorable mention. And that is Ultron. I would really, really love to see Ultron get a buff. But now the reason why I'm not going to pick him is because I have a feeling he is gonna get a buff. You know, he is our level 70 reward. So, like, if he doesn't get a buff, I'm gonna be very upset. You know, this the final reward for finally hitting level 70, a new max level after like a decade with a level cap, and if it's a champ that sucks, well, I'm gonna be upset. I hope he gets the craziest buff. I really like the look of this Ultron too, especially compared to the other Ultron, the Avengers Age of Ultron look. This Ultron is just, it's classic. It's clean, it's classic. The comic look, it looks so good. It looks amazing. I like playing this Ultron too. I just want him to get a crazy buff. So I'm hoping that happens. So I'm just gonna assume that that's happening and make a different choice. So my different choice is shout out to, I think it was Fuse. He really wanted Psycho Man buff. Shout out to him. Oh, Kang. That's another great choice. Kang Kang, like that, similar to Deadpool, as like Deadpool's been around in the contest for so long, and he's like this kind of like the poster child of the game. Like Kang is also a bit of a poster child, especially early on. Like we see so much of Kang. He's like our first big enemy that we're dealing with before we get to Thanos, before we get to Maestro. Like Kang's kind of the starting boss, and Kang's like he's Kang the freaking conqueror, bro. He's conquered who knows how much. He travels through time. Like this Kang should be a beast. This Kang should be a beast. He should have like something like Magic's Limbo that kind of turns back time and allows him to heal. He should absolutely have stuff like that. This Kang absolutely deserves a crazy, crazy, crazy buff. Because, we have a good Thanos in game now with Deathless Thanos, but we don't have a good Kang. So unless Kabam wants to make like Deathless Kang or something, which, hey, that would be sick. But still, I would like regular Kang to be buffed. But that's not my choice. My number one choice, it's gotta be Green Goblin, dude. Sticking with the Spider-Man theme. You guys know I love Spider-Man. And I would say Green Goblin, I'd say, like, Carnage is my favorite villain. And I say Venom number 2. But Venom's, like, he's not always a villain. A bit of an anti-hero, anti-villain type deal. But let's just classify him as a villain. So I'd say Carnage, Venom. And then number 3, maybe Green Goblin. Maybe. Green Goblin's definitely top 5. I don't know exactly where I'd put him. But I feel like it's undisputed. Green Goblin is easily one of Spider-Man's biggest villains. Like I think of Green Goblin to Spider-Man as like Joker to Batman. And they're both crazy. Green Goblin and Joker are both crazy. So yeah, man, I love Green Goblin, and I think he looks really good in game. He looks so Halloween-y. I think his specials look good. I think he has really good building blocks in his kit. All he really needs is to crank up the damage numbers, and that's really the main thing. Honestly, like if you just cranked up the numbers with Green Goblin, maybe like change some of the debuffs as well. Maybe give him like Rupture and I mean, Noble Flames wouldn't really make sense on him, but I feel like Ruptures could make sense. But just give him like some damage over time that's going to be useful, and that not a lot of the game's immune to. I was going to say Cold Snap, but I feel like Cold Snap wouldn't really make sense in his kit, but Incinerate does make sense. Yeah, I would definitely, the damage is the main thing. He's got a lot of utility. He's got some pretty decent power control. I'd like to guarantee the power control a little bit more. And I would definitely tweak some other things, but it's mainly like his kit is not bad. Green Goblin's kit is definitely not bad. I think I would change like the whole madness and cunning thing. I don't love that with his kit. I might just scrap that. Kind of come up with something different if I were to buff him. But it's really just he needs more damage. That's the main thing. If they cranked up Green Goblin's damage, if they like doubled or tripled it or somewhere in the middle, I think he'd become fairly relevant. Potentially. But Yeah, I love Green Goblin, and I think he'd be such a perfect like Halloween buff. That'd be perfect time to do it. You know, this guy looks straight out of Halloween for sure. All right, so to recap one more time, we got Captain America, Daredevil, Deadpool, Wolverine, Symbiote Spider-Man, Green Goblin, and then we get to the Mystic class. So, who's my Mystic pick gonna be? Oh, I know it. Yep. Oh, there's a couple, but yeah, I think I know it. We'll talk about a couple of shoutouts. So Ghost Rider is getting a buff, which is awesome. I don't even think Ghost Rider would be my #1 pick if he wasn't getting a buff, but I'm really happy that he is getting a buff. But I think there's a Mystic champ that deserves it more than Ghost Rider, and I think that's who my pick is. But some other... Oh, yeah, there's actually a lot of really worthy Mystics. Of course, Doctor Strange. He lost the vote to Cyclops. Rest in peace, Doctor Strange. Maybe one day he'll be done justice again. I remember when the Doctor Strange movie came out, I think that was November of 2016. Yes. That was November of 2016. I started playing October, the month before, and then the movie had come out. I had like bought a deal that was with the movie. I think it was for units, and I ended up pulling a 4-star Doctor Strange. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a 5-star at the time. It was for sure it was a 4-star Doctor Strange, and that 4-star Doctor Strange dude carried me. He was so OP back then, man. Whenever he had his armor phase, he had perfect block. In the Fury phase, you hit pretty hard, and if you drop that in Special 2, you'd armor break the opponent. Again, hit really hard. And then he had like healing too. Like, man, I miss 12.0 Doctor Strange. He was so good. Honestly, if they just restored him to that and maybe gave him a little extra spice, like he'd be great. Unstoppable Colossus is like the freest buff ever. They've already buffed Juggernaut. They've already buffed Colossus. Smack them together and ship it. Of course, tone everything down a little bit, a teensy tiny bit, but ship it. Like, you already buffed the 2 other champs that make this champ. Why is this champ still sucking and costing a billion loyalty? Easiest, freest buff ever. Do it, Kabam. And release the 7-star for like 2.5 million loyalty. Do it. Alright, but that's still not my pick. One more shout out. No, 2 more shout outs. Mephisto. Mephisto's a great pick. He's a beast in the comics. However, Mephisto, out of the next 3 champs, Mephisto included, champs we're going to talk about, I would say Mephisto is currently the most useful of the 3. Like, Mephisto is actually relevant as a defender. The only thing is he's capped as a 6-star right now. But if Mephisto existed as a 7-star, especially if they release 7-star Mephisto like before they released 7-star Torch, I'm sure people would have ranked him up for Battlegrounds, for defense. And he would have done really good. Now that Torch is out, well, his stocks kind of plummet because Torch is such a free counter to him. But Mephisto looks really good. Mephisto deserves a good buff. He really does. And you know who else deserves a good buff? Iron Fist. Specifically, the Immortal version. We are dying. The endgame players, the endgame whales, we are dying for a better 7-star max system. Right now, all you get, whether you open a max sig in a basic 7-star, some special crystal, or even a Titan crystal, all you get is double Titan shards. And it's so stupid. They can totally release this guy as a 7-star, but they won't. But I don't even want them to do that until they buff him. Buff him and then release him. That would be incredible. That would be such a pro player move, Kabam. Do it. But that's still not my pick. My pick is the champ that deserves it the most. That is freaking Dormammu, bro. Put some respect on Dormammu's name. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Kabam, I've come to bargain. You buff Dormammu, bro. He looks so good. He looks so good. Now, you want to know the saddest thing in the game? Dormammu is not immune to Incinerate. What? This dude, the dude that's on fire, is not immune to Incinerate? He's not immune to Nova Flame? He's not immune to Cold Snap? Nothing. Bleed and Poison. but not incinerate. Like, huh? Huh? That don't make no sense, dude. That is a disservice to Dormammu. So, like, dude, Dormammu literally has so much potential, even as is. Literally, all he would need is more damage. Just give him more damage. Give him, like, a Fury passive, and it gets more potent the more power he controls, or something like that. Boom. Dormammu would immediately become one of the best Mystic champs in the game with a small little tweak like that. Like, his power control is already top tier. He's got bleed and poison immunity, which is good, but just give him more immunities. Give him immunity to bleed, poison, incinerate, cold snap, frostbite, nova flames. Boom. So he's immune to bleed, poison, hot, cold. Done. I don't think he needs any more immunities than that. That should be good. And then increases damage. And yeah, that should be good. Give him. I would either increase his damage through maybe Fury passive or a Prowess passive, or both, some combination of both. Give that to Dormammu, bro, and I'm telling you, he immediately becomes one of the best Mystics in the game. And I would love to see it because he's freaking Dormammu. He deserves it. Same with Mephisto. Like in the bro. Like I wish we could get some. Make the comic books make a little bit more sense in game. You know, like when there's champions that in the comics are just so ridiculously powerful, and then in game they suck, and then we have champs like Kate Bishop being one of the most broken champs in the game. Like it's just, where's the comic book accuracy? You know, I understand it's a game. I understand game needs balance, but at the end of the day, like let's not disservice the comic books entirely. That's the source material where these characters come from, and some of them are just being so heavily disrespected. Enough's enough, and Dormammu is absolutely one of them. So, yeah, guys, that is all 6. So to go over our champion picks one more time, we have Dormammu as our Mystic, we have Green Goblin as our Tech pick, we have Symbiote Spider-Man as our Cosmic pick, we have Deadpool and Wolverine. It's a movie title, so it's allowed, as our Mutant pick. We have Daredevil Classic OG comic look as our skill pick, and then Captain America as our science pick. You know, either one, and it'd be like become a worthy Captain America buff, ideally. So yeah, guys, that is my top picks for a buff in each class, why I want the buff, and kind of what I would do if I was in charge of buffing that champion. Massive shout out to whoever gave me this video idea. I actually had a ton of fun making it. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Which buff did you agree with the most out of all classes I mentioned? Or did you not agree with any of them? Do you think there's a different champion that deserved it way more? Let me know. If you guys want to drop me your top 6, you know, one in each class of champions you would buff, go ahead and drop me that in the comment section down below. And I also kind of want to go out and make this a challenge to other YouTubers in the MCOC community to make a similar video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the champions that you think deserve a buff the most in each class and why. So if anyone wants to make a video like this, you know, please absolutely feel free. Don't think of it as copying me or anything like that. This was an idea from a subscriber anyways. So yeah, totally feel free to run with this idea if you're a creator. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you all have a great, wonderful day. One last reminder about my creator code. If you're ever making a purchase on the web store and want to support me, just LAG all lowercase. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great, wonderful day. Peace.